Right now, I'm kind of curious as to how to breach the conversation with global warming. At this stage right now, um, we what just brought that to mind was at this time, President Jimmy Carter has just recently passed away, and he was 100 years old when he passed away. He was president when I entered the military, which was in 1979. He was 76 to 80. And at that time, he was told as he entered into office that there were going to be serious issues with fossil fuels, and this was in 1976. But there was also a problem with getting fossil fuels in the form of OPEC had like shut down, put down their foot, and said, we're not going to play nice. And America found themselves in a situation where his priority was getting us fossil fuels rather than getting us off of fossil fuels. So it goes back that far. But you know what? We can take this all the way back till the 1900s. And at that time, the various types, Shell and Mobil, they were called the Seven Sisters. At that time, America was turning and burning fossil fuels because it was the advent of Ford and the engine, and it was a time in America where everything was big and we weren't looking to the future. We were just looking to the present, and having it become what it is now wasn't a thought for decades. So back in the 1900s, this is in the 1960s and 70s, and here we are today. So what are we going to do with that? Is a part of the issue that is facing right now our youth is the fact of the matter is that they're going to grow up in a time where fossil fuel is going to have to be replaced. And in doing that, at this stage in my life, I've been around long enough to know that the corporations that have anything to do with fossil fuels are not going to let that happen. I mean, from my way of looking at it, in the last couple of years, when it became apparent that the population of America was, finally catching on to the fact that fossil fuels are causing changes to the environment, are instead of the corporations that now they're no longer the Seven Sisters, the corporations that govern fossil fuels, instead of them saying, okay, you know what? We had our share. We've gotten our money. Let's figure out what we can do for the planet, for our young people. That ain't happening, and that's not going to happen. So when we say, what are we going to do about global warming? Adults, we don't care, really. I mean, if we did, we would say something. And the problem with our youth is they don't have a choice about whether they care or not. They're growing up into this world. They see it, they know it, and they are going to also find themselves looking back in their old age at us at this time and really going to see how angry and disappointed they're going to be in the history that they're going to write about us. So what can we do about that? What is there to do about it? As a clinical social worker, I'm looking at the various mental health issues, and the great majority of mental health issues can be directly correlated to what's going on in our present day society. And that would be global warming, the presidency of Donald J. Trump, who in 14 days will become our sitting president, and the fear and the anxiety and the anger and resentment that are flooding the population of adult America right now is creating serious mental health issues for our youth. And if we're not going to do something, our youth are not in a position to be able to do anything. They can, you know what can they do? The question is, what can we do as adults that have had a very good life in this country? If you're boomer, we had a good time. And right now, are we going to go quietly into that good night, or are we going to do something about it? Our mental health too is that anger, that resentment, that all of that is because we don't know what to do. We are at loggerheads. We are a nation that is divided. And if we don't do something, something will be done. Nature is not to be kidded with. If we don't do something, there will be a price to pay. And it will be in our lifetime, but it will affect our youth in ways that, I don't know, can you live with that? Anyways, I wanted to make the point, bring it up, let it be heard, knowing that all the mental health that our youth are experiencing, that the adult population is experiencing, are directly correlated to our inability to come up with finding answers to the big problems that are facing us. That's something that I'm willing to do. I've written this book. I've told the story of the greatest generation, the silent generation, we boomers, and how we transition from adolescent to adulthood, and the difference it is for X, Y, and Z, that their transitional trajectory is completely different than ours. We had it good. We have it good. So we're now entering into Social Security. We are a burden on that. It's stated 10,000 people every day are turning 65 and will have in the past 10 years and the next 9 years. 19 years every day, 10,000 people going into Social Security and turning 65, where it's been stated, the statistics are out there. You know what? I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news, but this generation that is now coming of age, actually what Y and Z, they're not getting married. They're not having kids. And there's a direct correlation with having enough Social Security funds to pay for we boomers as we retire. We need a working class group to be able to pay for our retirement. And as it stands, they are burdened with knowing that they're not going to have Social Security. Why do they want to work if they're not going to get anything? And on top of that, they're looking at knowing that there are issues with global warming that are affecting all of us, and they're watching the adult population do nothing. So here it is. Special welfare is figuring out how to reallocate the money, because if we don't, we're going to have social warfare. And don't think for a minute that that can't happen. I told a story in there being a former Navy SEAL. I was discharged for drug use. I'm a recovering addict alcoholic. I went and got an education as far as a bachelor's, master's, licensed board certification, because a group of adolescents helped me find my way from that horrible moment in my life where I lost everything due to addiction, and they taught me how to live life and how to play. And because of that, I said that this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, going to get the education so that if there are questions that a youth has for me today, I can find the answer. I have it because I sought to become something for them. Now, this is one person. Look at the adult population right now. We are going to retire. We are in a position to be able to become what it is that our youth need us to become, as I did. And if we don't, then, as I stated, my military unconventional warfare way of looking at life, my my way of having two credentials, licensed clinical, and I'm a board certified diplomat in clinical social work. So if you take those all together and my addiction, I am what is called, what is it? I am what is called an adolescent combat diplomat, taking all those pieces and connecting them. Adolescents who I work with, combat from my military career as a former Navy SEAL, recovering addict alcoholic, and it is right now our place to become what our youth need us. And as a diplomat in clinical social work, I'm game, all in. So I have a website, www.thehonorboundacademy.org. In it, you'll find the nonprofit that I have put together that I came up with as my way of seeing the what this generation of youth most need in a transition from adolescence to adulthood. I spoke on my military career and all the rites of passages that I experienced, and then I created one. And because I was unable to have it funded, I wrote a story about it and placed it at the end of this. So if you were to go to www.thehonorboundacademy.org, you'll see the program that I put together. It's a 1-year program. And you'll look at all the credentials. You'll look at all the jobs that I have so that I can validate that I am who I say I am. So that you know that it's never too late. I went back to school. I was 38 years old. There is a second life. We're entering in it at the numbers of 10,000 every day. Boomers are turning 65. I turned my 65 a year and a half ago. So, as we grow in numbers, we grow in power. We can make the difference for our youth, but it takes you and I to make that happen. Our kids are not in a position. They're being overwhelmed. Let us show us how to become adults in this most awesome country of ours. Look, it's dark on the horizon. Our future looks to be difficult, overwhelming, but there have been many a time in our history where we have faced adversity. It is not something that we are not capable of doing. We are. We are Americans. Let's make a difference. Let's get together. Let us come as one and find the answers. Global warming to start with, how we can help our kids by becoming what they need us to be, honest and honorable. Thank you.